Nice guys don't ruin their relationship with what they say. They ruin it with the conversations they never come back to. Because every time there's tension, emotion, a misunderstanding, or a hard truth to face, you smooth it over, apologize, perform, justify, or say what she wants to hear, and then you pretend the problem is solved. You're listening to the Be Better podcast. I'm Harrison Orr, and after coaching almost 500 men, one truth stands out. Your marriage, business, and peace of mind all hinge on one thing: how grounded you are as a man. And how grounded you are will directly determine how much truth you can face, how regulated, grounded, and calm you can stay in the face of uncomfortable conversations and brutal, hard truths. And that's the same whether it's business, whether it's personal, or anywhere. Some guys sure will be able to stone face their way through business, hard conversations, but it's in the emotional realm, in their relationships at home, where this becomes so much more prevalent because they haven't developed the skill set, or ultimately haven't been rewarded for this type of skill. So they just haven't learnt it. Because you think that avoiding that conflict is enough, right? If I just avoid it, then it doesn't exist. You think that you're keeping the peace. But brother, all you're doing is building a mountain of unresolved shit that becomes impossible to climb, that you and your partner can barely even walk around or communicate through. And that mountain is the reason that your wife doesn't trust you. It's the reason that your intimacy is inconsistent. And the same arguments keep coming back, just with different clothing. Because the underlying needs, the underlying issue has not been resolved. And if you're the kind of man who says, let's just drop it, or we're good now, right? Or don't ruin the night, don't ruin the vibe, then let me tell you this: your relationship is already feeling this. Your avoidance is not peace. That avoidance is emotional neglect. And this is the nice guy pattern. Anytime there's tension, you do whatever you need to escape that discomfort. You apologize too fast, you explain yourself to death, you say whatever will calm her down, and you promise to talk about it later, maybe. But that later never comes. And because that moment, the energy settles, she softens again, you guys feel good again, you think, oh, why bring it up? We're finally good, I don't want to ruin the moment. But you're not good. You're just disconnected, just temporarily quiet. Because every unresolved moment starts to become emotional plaque. And it builds this resentment, it kills that safety, and it erodes the trust. And then over time, it destroys marriages far faster than any amount of arguments will. Because really, you're not avoiding a fight. You're avoiding ownership and responsibility. And that ownership piece is massive for, first of all, ourselves, right? David Data has this amazing quote that you can measure a man by how much truth he is willing to face. And think about how much truth you can own. Like how often your default response, anytime there is that truth that's presented you, especially from someone else, your wife or your kids is a beautiful example. And instead of having that space to own it, to even if you get triggered, to sit in it and like, yep, I did that. Or, yep, you're totally right. I forgot that. Instead, reacting with an excuse, with a justification, a change of topic, or whatever it is, it diminishes trust. Not just in you and between you and the person that you're now having this conversation with, but you and yourself. Right? One of the most fundamental or the most important traits that we instill and practice in the Grounded Man method is being impeccable with your word. Like, yes, that creates amazing trust and respect in our team and from our wife and our kids, but first and foremost, for your own self and confidence. Because if you have this unbreakable word, contract with yourself, if you will, that when you say something, you're going to do it, your level of confidence and execution goes through the roof because your word means something. As opposed to the guy that always says like, yeah, I'll get to it, or yeah, I'll do it, or says yes to everything, and then either just forgets, never speaks to it again, never does it. Like, imagine if that was someone else. right? Imagine that was your kid or that was your friend that said like, yeah, I'll do it, no worries. And then just never did it. And you have to remind them, hey man, like how you going with this thing that you said you'd do for me? Oh yeah, sorry man, I've been super busy. I'll get to it later. And it just never does. What emotions for you come up in that? You get frustrated, you get annoyed, you get resentful or bitter. And then what do you start to tell yourself about that person? That their word doesn't mean anything, that they can't be trusted, that they're not organized, that they, you might add some other insults in there as well, depending on how emotional you are at the time. But that framing is essentially what we create within ourselves when we don't honor our word. And so if you're lacking confidence and conviction, start there. And it doesn't have to be with these massive tasks. Literally start with the little shit that you do. You said that you'd book the doctor's appointment for the kids. You said that you would clean up that thing around the house. You said that you would organize that other thing, that date night, that holiday, that whatever it is. Or you said you would start this new journey or whatever it is. Go and fucking do it. Either decide that you're not going to do it anymore because you've now got stricter guidelines on what you commit to and you've decided that this is no longer a priority, and then go and communicate that with the people that you originally promised this to. Or say, you know what, I did say I would do that. It takes less than 2 minutes. I'll do it right now. Or you know what, this is like a half-day job. I'm going to put it in the calendar so it has a distinct time that this is going to get done. Even the things that you don't want to fucking do. The things that you don't want to do will actually give you the most benefit. They will actually start to increase your ability to exercise your willpower and your discipline. There's a part of your brain which actually grows from doing hard things that you do not want to do. And they found these parts are minuscule in people that are obese and overweight and poor versus the people that are rich, athletic, successful, and that live the longest. They have this part of their brain which literally grows bigger and stronger by them doing hard things, doing things that they do not want to do, but they know will benefit them, that they know align with the person they want to be, with the best interests of the business, of the family, of whatever it is. You doing the small thing starts to create that proof that you are strong, you are capable, and you can do hard shit. And that's ultimately what every man wants. A lot of men talk about, I want to have confidence, but they talk about contextual confidence, right? I want to have confidence in my marriage, or I want to have confidence when I'm, in my body, right? So they want to have a six-pack, have muscles, and have these things. But then what? Winter comes along, you rug up. Does your confidence then disappear? Well, if it's based off how your body looks and no one can see your body, then for sure. And I'll stick my hand up. That was definitely me. I thought that if my body was perfect, if I could cook amazing food, if I did whatever my partner wanted me to, then that would make me perfect. That would give me confidence. That would give me everything that I wanted and fix all my problems. And I could have the personality of a doorknob and didn't have to own anything else. Pro tip, that's fucking wrong. It doesn't work that way. Instead, because we can't guarantee, there's no certainty in life. Right? There's no certainty in how the business is going to go, on what the next 12 months looks like for the family, on what your personal journey even looks like. Confidence, true confidence, comes from being in yourself, like your adult self, not the childlike parts of you that run the show that come out every time you get triggered, but having proof that you can do hard things and navigate hard situations. Because now you have the confidence and the proof that I don't know what's coming up in the future, but I fucking back myself to navigate it and figure it the fuck out. I'll be able to make decisions, take action, and figure it out based on my values, my experience, the best interests of me, the business, and the family. Just a quick announcement, guys. If you are a high-performing father or a successful business owner who's built the life you said you always wanted, and even a life most men would envy, but deep down you feel like something's off. Your drive and fire is just your marriage just feels stale, your energy's just not what it used to be, or maybe you're still stuck in the nice guy syndrome, but you're ready to lead with real presence and confidence again. Well, that's exactly what I help men like you to do. So if you're ready to take action and want to know if my coaching is right for you, Either scroll down to the show notes or go to my Instagram page, The Elite Father, and click on the link tree to apply. You've built a business success. Now let's build success where it really matters. Now, back to the show. That requires no external stimulus or no external input. No, I can only be confident when this person is in charge. I can only be confident when I've got, $10 million in the bank. I can only be confident when this thing happens. And all those things can get taken away. So is it really confidence? I would argue not. So back to the situation of avoiding these conversations. I want to tell you a story about one of the guys in the Grounded Man method. And he would let things go because he didn't want to ruin the moment, right? He would have these massive emotional blow-ups with his wife. Some nasty things were said, some breaches of boundaries, and then a day or two later, they'd get over it and things would be as normal. And they would both carry on as if nothing had happened. And then a few days or weeks later, another issue would surface and blow up just as much. And the same shit would come up. The same boundaries were crossed, the same level of disrespect, the same level of argument. And every time in between those, they were both just so disconnected and ignoring the reality of what had just happened because they didn't want to have the hard conversation. They didn't want to face what that might look like. Are we actually facing a divorce right now? Are we actually getting to the point where we recognize we're not compatible? We actually don't want a life together beyond this. And we're just kidding ourselves trying to keep the family together for the kids until they turn 18 and then we'll go our ways. If you've got that inkling of that's where it might end up, I don't think anyone would blame you for avoiding these conversations and not wanting to step into that willingly. But every single time, the issue will return, the feeling underneath will get stronger, and then the gap between those outbursts or those intense emotional conversations will get shorter and shorter. And the distance between you two will get bigger and bigger. So the secret isn't to avoiding these conversations, acknowledging fuck it, it hurts. The reality, the potential reality of what this could mean if that inkling is right, that we're not on the same page and we don't want this anymore. But what's the other alternative? That we keep living like this, that clearly no one is happy, or that we somehow manage to sweep it under the rug, ignore it, and then just live out the rest of our days in this, not even platonic, this emotionally charged, nobody's happy, nobody's connected, sexless relationship for the rest of our days, when nobody's really happy or glad that they be here. Or we have this hard conversation, potentially address all that and fix it. We recognize what are the unmet needs, what are the unsaid emotions and shit that's got us to this point, and promise to work through it together, or at least give it our best red hot crack and say that we gave it a shot and maybe it wasn't for us, or work through all that and have the best relationship that you didn't even know was possible. That's a very real possibility as well. But most people will focus so much on the negative. Oh, the kids will have a split family and this and that. I've seen so many people that have split and their kids are actually better off. Sure, the kids have, split housing and whatnot, but the parents are much better because they're happier. They're not fighting all the time. The kids don't feel like they have to be picking sides. The parents are healthier as well. And now you get to model that to your kids. Because think about what you're modeling to the kids if you don't have that conversation. You're modeling that once you marry someone, you're in it for the rest of your life, regardless of how they treat you, regardless of what happens, and you teach them to put everybody else's needs ahead of yours, even when it's so detrimental that your kids can see how much it's hurting you. And your kids, despite what you may think, are actually not better off by staying together. And so even in your life right now, Have you ever noticed how the same argument keeps coming back? It's a different situation, but it's the same emotional blueprint. And that's not coincidence, that's simply avoidance. Because every time you've said, it's fine, like, can we just move on? You're not moving on. You're delaying the explosion or the inevitable brutal truth. The truth that the conversation you're avoiding is the one that's actually controlling your relationship. Your wife isn't frustrated because of the dishes, the timing, the tone, or the tiny issue in front of you. She's frustrated because of the feeling underneath it that you never come back to. And that feeling, it grows, it compounds, it gets louder, the distance gets larger, and then 2 months later, you're blindsided by, you never listen, you don't get me, I feel so alone, why aren't you here with me? And you think it came out of nowhere. But it didn't. It came from every unresolved moment that you walked away from because the tension dropped and you felt safe again. Every hard conversation you don't return to will be the reason that your relation gets further and further apart. And when we play this out in a long term, every time we sweep this shit under the rug, it creates more resentment, more distance, more emotional shutdown, more passive-aggressive tension, inconsistency, if not complete, null intimacy and sexual connection. And then you both start to have this fear of honesty. You lose the trust, you lose the polarity, you lose the respect, and you think that you're protecting the relationship by keeping things good. I don't have to tell you that what you're feeling is right, is that it's far from good. You're just suffocating it slowly. Like, having these conversations, yes, they can be hard, but that is where you will grow as a leader, as a man, as a team in your relationship. It's literally the difference between being a reactive nice guy and a grounded man. See, there's one trait that separates grounded men from nice guys. Grounded men can return to this conversation. They don't disappear once things settle. They don't pretend everything is fine. They don't avoid hard truths because the energy feels good again. A grounded man can hold his presence and his energy and say, hey, early today when the tension we felt, the way that we spoke to each other, and bring it back up. Finish the conversation. Speak to each other's needs and perspectives and reality to understand what was going on. Not to rehash it, but from a grounded and calm place. And that's what real leadership is. It's not dominating, it's not controlling, it's not manipulating the story. It's simply coming back to what was left unsaid and being willing to go back into that discomfort for the sake of honesty and connection. Because when we can then revisit that truth calmly, without defensiveness, without fixing, without panic, that's when she finally relaxes. Because she now starts to see this man doesn't run from emotional reality. He doesn't run from tension or heightened emotions. He can hold it, he can own it, he can stay in it, and he can lead in those tensions. Even though avoidance feels easy in the moment, that repair is what rebuilds that desire, that safety, and depth, and ultimately her trust in you as a man. Despite what you may think as a nice guy, she doesn't want you to be perfect. She's a human. She knows that you are a human, I hope, and knows that you are not perfect. Neither is she, neither is anyone. And she doesn't need you to nail every conversation to be the perfect husband. Like, she doesn't need you to be Ned Flanders. She wants to trust that you won't disappear when things get uncomfortable. That she can express her emotions and you can hold it without reacting to her or disconnecting. She wants a man that can speak into those emotions without quivering, that can circle back, that when he says, hey, can we come back to this when we're both a bit calmer because I feel like we're getting too escalated here and it's no longer constructive, that he will honor that word and bet your ass come back to it when you're both calm, grounded, and can have a more constructive conversation. He's the man who can revisit unfinished emotional business because he values the connection more than his own comfort and more than the delusion of that comfort. And so I want to give you a framework. Instead of sweeping shit under the rug, what you can do in these moments instead. Like every other framework, the first one is always fucking regulate yourself, breathe yourself back into your body, back into calm, back into the moment. Because from a reactive state, this will never go down well. Really, nothing will go down well. So we don't repair in that moment. In the same way that we don't set boundaries from a heightened emotion. We regulate ourselves first. Okay, as soon as I can feel this getting to an unconstructive space, either we're going tit for tat, we're going around in circles, no one is feeling heard, we put a pause. We breathe. Babe, I can feel that we're no longer understanding or hearing each other in this space, so I'm going to put a pause on this, and we're going to come back to this when we're both feeling a bit more calmer and grounded, so that we can seek to understand each other's emotions and navigate this like adults. Yeah? Amazing. Now, within the 24 hours, timeline is what makes you trustworthy. You come back to it. Right? Ideally, not after you've been stressed out putting the crying kids to bed or a stressed out day. Ideally, when you've both got some capacity. Then we start with ownership. Not explanation, not you do this or you said that, or finger pointing, with ownership. I feel this, I experience this is my reality. Right? Each person. Seek to understand her emotional truth, not just the surface issue. So, okay, this is the words that she's using. Okay, and so if I'm understanding this right, this is what happened. Yeah. Okay, and what feelings were present for you in that? Amazing. Now you're starting to understand, okay, she's upset because she wasn't feeling validated. She was upset because she felt taken for granted. She wasn't feeling appreciated. As a quick side note here, if you can acknowledge the things that get taken for granted, like the way that she maybe greets you when you get home from work, the way that she looks after the kids, the way that she organizes the kids, make sure that they're always, fed and healthy and have gone to the doctors and been to the dentist and are at school on time, and all these things that seem like just what she does, just her responsibility. Just speak into those and acknowledge those. I guarantee you she will love that moment. Just because you see the effort that she puts into this. You see her for more than just the other taskmaster at home. Now, once you've understood her emotional truth, you're understanding her needs, the invitation is to then share your truth. And depending on the emotional state of her in this space, it can be, okay, are you open to me sharing my perspective or my truth? And she might say no. Right? And you're, okay, amazing. Shut the fuck up. Don't press it on her. If she is, okay, we'll leave with the tense that I love you. I don't do anything intentionally to harm you, to upset you. This was my intention, or this was my thinking, or this was whatever. From a calm, slow, present state. And then once you've shared and exchanged understandings, has anything been left unsaid for you? Any emotions, any thoughts, anything? And then you close the loop. That is now closed, wrapped, signed, delivered, done. Because we've come back to it and spoken into it. It's not another thing that has been swept under the rug. That is leadership. That's masculine and presence and direction. That's what leads your relationship. Because your marriage will not fall apart because of one fight. Sure, if you've cheated or you've done something pretty extreme, it's probably not the fight, it's the action. But your relationship will not fall apart because of one fight. However, it will fall apart because of the conversations that you never have. You stop sweeping shit under the rug and you start leading with presence, depth, and courage. And that's when you evolve as a man, and then your relationship evolves as a byproduct. So we stop fixing the relationship and we fix the man, and then everything gets better from there. So you've got the story, you've got the framework. Don't be sorry, be better. See you guys next time.